A slender blister beetle can be crushed against your forearm, leave no mark, and still injure you hours later. And that's the problem. There is no obvious bite, sting, or immediate pain connecting the beetle to the damage. Within 2 to 8 hours, a painful blister may rise where it touched you. Oily residue can move from your fingers to your eyes, mouth, or another person. In a horse's hay, that toxin can turn a hidden beetle into a deadly meal. Blister beetles belong to the Meloidae family, a group found across North America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and other regions. They can appear on flowers, crops, and outdoor surfaces, so contact often happens during ordinary gardening, harvesting, or handling vegetation. The injury is chemical. When the beetle is squeezed against skin, it can release Cantharidin, an oily defensive compound. That residue irritates and separates layers of skin, allowing fluid to collect. The beetle does not need to pierce the skin, inject venom, or leave a visible puncture for the reaction to begin. Timing makes the connection easy to miss. During the first minutes, the area may show only faint redness, warmth, or irritation. The recognizable fluid-filled blister may emerge later, often within the central 2 to 8 hour window, though individual exposures can develop faster or slower. By then, the beetle may be gone. The residue may have been wiped away, and the person may remember only touching a plant or brushing against clothing. So what can cause a delayed blister without leaving a visible wound? The answer is the beetle's defensive chemistry. The beetle's defense begins at its legs. Under pressure, it can reflex bleed hemolymph from joints in those legs. That fluid spreads onto whatever is pressing against the body and carries Cantharidin, an odorless, colorless vesicant, meaning a chemical that raises blisters. Cantharidin acts without the immediate sensation of a hot burn. During the first moments, the skin may show little more than mild irritation. The compound disrupts the connections between neighboring skin layers. Once those layers separate, the body sends fluid into the new space, and pressure raises the familiar blister. The surface can remain unbroken, with no bite mark or puncture. Crushing creates the contact that matters. A beetle resting on a sleeve may cause no injury at all. A beetle trapped between fingers, skin and clothing, or a hand and a plant can leave defensive fluid exactly where it can spread. Wiping the area can enlarge the contact zone. Touching the eyes, lips, or other delicate skin can move the chemical to a far more vulnerable location. The usual blister remains superficial and heals without a scar. The immediate task is to remove contaminated clothing. Wash the skin thoroughly with soap and water, and keep the hands away from the face until they are clean. The hazard comes from Cantharidin left on the skin and transferred by touch, not from a visible wound made by the beetle. The trap begins after the beetle is gone. A person wipes the crushed insect away, sees no obvious residue, and carries on. But Cantharidin can remain on the hand. From there, the hand acts like a living stamp, printing a thin film across a wrist, neck, phone, or another patch of skin. That does not mean every person or object touched becomes dangerous. It means an unwashed hand can extend the original exposure. The eyes are the critical destination. Rubbing an eyelid, adjusting a contact lens, or simply touching the face can move the vesicant onto delicate tissue, where even a small amount may cause intense irritation and injury. A splash or suspected transfer to the eye needs prompt medical attention, not a wait to see whether a blister appears. The delay makes the chain difficult to reconstruct. The hand may look normal while the chemical is spreading. Then hours later a blister appears somewhere that was never near the beetle. The person may blame soap, a plant, another insect, or an unexplained rash, while the real cause was a brief touch followed by a second touch. And that is the small-scale human version. If a tiny amount on skin can separate tissue and raise a blister, imagine beetles crushed into feed and swallowed by a large animal. A concentrated meal can turn a hidden defensive chemical into a serious poisoning event. That hidden meal can begin in a field of alfalfa. Blister beetles often gather in flowering fields, and when the crop is cut, beetles may be trapped in the windrow. Some are crushed by mowing equipment and pressed into bales. If beetles are killed before they can escape, their bodies can spread through the forage. Drying the hay removes moisture, but it does not reliably remove Cantharidin. The toxin can remain in the dried beetle material. Horses are particularly vulnerable because hay gives them no useful warning. A beetle mixed through a bale may be difficult to see, and a horse can consume contaminated flakes along with ordinary stems and leaves. The danger is not the existence of alfalfa itself. It is a concentrated patch of beetle contamination, especially when many beetles are harvested together. Even removing one visible insect does not prove the rest of the bale is clean. A frequently cited estimate says roughly 4 grams of dried blister beetles may be enough to kill an adult horse. That is an approximate reported dose, not a universal threshold. The outcome changes with the beetle species, the individual animal, and how much Cantharidin is present in the contaminated material. A smaller amount can still cause severe illness, while the amount in any particular bale can vary widely. After ingestion, cantharidin damages the lining of the digestive tract and can disrupt the kidneys, fluid balance, and heart. Horses may develop painful gastrointestinal signs, dehydration, weakness, abnormal heart function, and collapse. There is no specific antidote. Veterinary treatment is supportive, often requiring fluid therapy, control of pain and gastrointestinal injury, and monitoring for kidney and heart complications. The sooner exposure is recognized, the more effectively a veterinarian can respond. Most alfalfa hay is not dangerous. The risk is concentrated in a contaminated harvest, so suspicious illness after a new hay delivery deserves urgent veterinary attention. And the strangest fact is still ahead. The same blistering compound was once marketed under a name that sounds almost harmless: Spanish fly. Spanish fly was never a fly. The name described a historical preparation made from dried and powdered blister beetles, especially a species once known as the Spanish fly beetle. Its active ingredient is cantharidin, the same chemical that gives these insects their defensive power. For centuries, Spanish fly was promoted as an aphrodisiac because cantharidin irritates tissues in the urinary and reproductive tracts. That irritation could produce burning, swelling, painful urination, bleeding, and, in some cases, a prolonged erection. People interpreted those dangerous physical reactions as sexual stimulation. The substance did not safely increase desire. It was poisoning tissue. Larger doses could damage the kidneys, disrupt fluid balance, cause seizures, and kill. The old reputation came from the same chemistry that makes a beetle dangerous. Cantharidin causes surface cells to separate, creating a blister. Modern dermatology uses that reaction under strict control. A clinician may place a measured amount on a wart, molluscum lesion, or another suitable target, protect the surrounding skin, and remove it after a specified time. The controlled blister helps lift abnormal tissue so healthy skin can replace it. That is a measured medical application, not permission to experiment with an insect. If a beetle lands on bare skin, do not crush or rub it. Brush it away with a card or gloved hand. Wash the area with soap and water, and remove contaminated clothing. Keeping beetles away from homes, animal feed, and harvested hay prevents exposure before cantharidin reaches the skin. If burning or blistering develops, seek medical advice, especially after contact with the eyes or mouth. Most skin blisters are superficial and heal. Keep the area clean. Seek medical or poison control advice for eye exposure or extensive symptoms. Horse owners should call a veterinarian urgently after suspected exposure to contaminated hay. Thanks for watching. Have you ever had a blister you could not explain? Tell me what state you are in.